Alright, so what I'm working on here is electrical power strips, basically, but a very heavy-duty version for somewhat of an industrial application. These are workstations actually from a company that's relocated a lot of its production stuff from China to the United States, and then is relocating some of that from other areas to the Portland area. And when they brought workstations in from China that had been reconfigured for US power, they were going from their higher voltage type of a run, which uses thinner wires, to American stuff. And what the Chinese did was they just changed the outlets on their stuff and didn't change a lot of the other wires, which was causing problems. And so this is one of the things that you're going to run into when stuff is CE certified but not UL certified, is we can see that there's a lot of melting and breakage on these switch assemblies right here. So basically all these power distribution things for the workstations had failed, usually due to switches. The other thing that was causing some to fail was the wiring in these plugs. Pretty simple stuff, and these are kind of nice quality, but basically they hadn't tightened these down on all of them. They either weren't using an impact driver, or they were using a drill with a thing that wasn't, inking it down real tight. And then some of these have been overloaded, but they were using 12-gauge wire, but it just every once in a while, like right here, for some of the runs in between these units, they went and used a thinner wire. And they daisy chained them together so that if any one were to fail, everything down line of it fails. In fact, some of them, because they had done the indicator lights right at the switch, the indicator light would work fine, and it was no indicator of whether or not the plugs had gone bad. So we're replacing these all with American receptacles, American plugs. Basically the only stuff on these that's still Chinese is going to be the external housings. Replacing the cords, and it's not that it was Chinese made that was bad, it was the fact that then they kind of scammed the specifications and used super skinny wiring inside of this, and this is stuff that was going to run heating elements and power tools, and that's just not going to work. So what we've done is, a friend of mine is, we set up our own little improvised production line, because I'm not set up as a factory, but we're put together our own little production line to retrofit these to American standard. And a little bit of innovation, a little experimenting on a couple of things to get a good configuration down, we're able to rebuild a lot of this stuff so that it's better. And that's been my project for the last few days, but we're actually going to be doing about 40 of these total. And it's one of the things about investing time and money and tools and effort and relationships with the right people, that we can do this type of stuff. Unfortunately, for my circumstance and everything, you don't need to be a certified electrician to work on a power strip, but that's basically what these are. But you still got to know what you're doing. And here we could, I don't know if we kept all the Chinese connectors, but here we can see, using a US standard wire nuts and thicker, heavier 12-gauge wire here. That's kind of our advantage of going to stuff that's US, even though this is, that's all US made wire. That's one of our advantages of being competitive in a world market here in Portland, Oregon. And some of the stuff that I do is, let's see if these are US, well, made in Mexico, but that's fine. It's made to our standards, and that's what matters. As far as hand tools go on some of this, I'm noticing that when I compare like the Harbor Freight wire cutter crimper deal to this new Milwaukee version, we're like fighting over the Milwaukee one because it's like the better one. These things are expensive, but they're worth it. And when you're talking production stuff, where it really matters that you can't have a production line lose time because of a component failure, this is where it's worth it. But we're being pretty cost effective by bringing work out here and doing it on a sunny day in the driveway.